and Arthur Ronjon. Round number 11, Pedro Hilbrand, the 2016 OK World Champion, driving from Leclerc by Lennox Racing on round number 11 with Alexander Kupenko by his side from Tony KART. Then we have Mark Kastelic and Erwin Nardini on round number 12. And you can see the classification of the grid appearing. Round number 13, Arthur Chabar and JC Lacey. Jaime Sanz Torrijos and Kuba Reski on round number 14. Then we have Jokubas, Bagno Navicius and Sandro Olzem, Nicolas Pirtilati and Nathan Schaap on round number 16, followed by Jeve Voilaluque, John Bergström and Albadi Levale, Divas Alvarez, one of the Spanish drivers. Most of the local drivers here, good representation from the young heroes from Spain. Oh, unfortunately, a trouble already for 321. The Spa-Francorchamps of karting in Spain, so to speak. Here come the drivers, as we're going to have Tsolov and Camara on the front row are racing. We're not racing. This is a yellow light. We're going around for another formation lap as David Manchester on the start-finish straight, our race director, decided, no, not this time around. Let's go for another one and make me a better grade, young gentleman. We had this extra formation lap in the opening junior qualifying heat, if you were with us to start the day. That first qualifying heat of the weekend for the OK category. And already the need to pace everybody down and to calm the spirits, because once you get back onto the grid, you need not only to respect your position, to respect the pace, but not to put any wheel, 2 or 4 wheels outside of the corridors before coming across the yellow line that we have on the grid before the lights. This is a penalty of 5 or 10 seconds, if more. So the drivers have to take a lot of things into account, and especially they have to repress themselves from getting on the throttle too soon and try to get an overtaking done too soon, coming to turn number 1. Of course, the temptation is huge once you get onto the start-finish straight to accelerate a little bit earlier than your rivals, but this could actually come with consequence if this is done too early or in a bad way. So, Nicolas Tsolov with the Alonso Kart colors on the right, Rafael Camara with Car Republic and the other colors on his side. Here we go, we're racing Campillos, and a good start, cracking start from Rafael Camara, run the outside of turn number 1, and I think that Tsolov is going to lose another position to Tappanen. Tappanen, the Tony KART driver, who just made himself into second place into turn number 5. He's going quite well into sector number 1 as well. No one's off at the moment. This is good news, but the battle outside of turn number 5, and a great start from the outside from Rafael Camara. He's been used actually through the past months and races to try this kind of overtaking around the outside line of some of the tracks that we've been to. But this time, Tappanen as well had a cracking start behind, and it's going to go as well for the move around the inside, and it goes through for the lead. At the end, pretty much at the end of the opening lap, Tuka Tappanen is taking the lead of this race in front of Camara. Tsolov in third. Let's see who we have behind. So they're going to come down to the hairpin. This is Ugo Ugochukwu in 4th place. A good effort as well from Ugo Ugochukwu. And let's see where Martin de Stenzon is actually dropping down the way. Where is Martin de Stenzon? All the way back. And there's going to be revenge for Rafael Camara, who goes through in turn number 1. What a move that was. He dived through in the open door. That was very open at the last second for Rafael Camara. That we haven't seen yet. This weekend in Campillos, a move into turn number 1 at full speed into the braking zone, which is not really a braking zone, as the drivers lift the throttle a little bit, sweet touch to the braking pedal, but not so much in the OK class. But it was very, very ballsy, shall I say, from Rafael Camara. Went for the move. He knew that Tuka Tappanen maybe wasn't expecting that, at least not in this first corner. So it's all over again for Tuka Tappanen, who might want to go for the move. But watch out, because Nicolas Tsolov might not be happy after losing 2 positions at the start. He's going to try to go for the move into turn number 14 in the hairpin. The door is open. Maybe too much from Tappanen. Can he actually cross the line? He has a couple of meters in front of Ugo Ugochukwu, under the pressure of Ariel Elkin just behind. Rintaro Sato is not far as well behind. And you can see actually Nicolas Tsolov saying to Tuka Tappanen, don't fight me, don't go against me, because the gap is extending with Rafael Camara is up to 0.6 of a second. As you can see, the Brazilian, who actually was having none of it of what was happening behind him. He took advantage of the fight and really put a couple of meters behind himself and the rest of the pack. Second place, Solov, Taponen trying to work together, but Solov is extending his gap a little bit, a better pace as it seems by the look of it. Igor Gochuku is going out as well. Igor Gochuku is out with another driver. Who is that? This is the 245. This is Tuka Taponen. Tuka Taponen got tangled in a mix as well. Igor Gochuku and Tuka Taponen are out of this race. What happened over there? Ariel Elkin was also behind, but nothing happened to the Israeli driver in the downhill to the hairpin. What on earth happened? They went so quick, but the two went together. And as a punishment, this is retirement for both Igor Gochuku and Tuka Taponen as they were battling for the victory. Another big surprise in this first race of the OK class, but Tuka Taponen and Igor Gochuku are out of contention. JC Lacey, unfortunately, has had to come back as well into the pits. The Paralympic driver is the one who had a bit of mechanical trouble, but was actually managed to get going at the end of the first warm-up lap. But unfortunately for the Paralympic driver, JC Lacey is back in the pit, and double retirement, as you have seen, for Igor Gochuku and Tuka Taponen. So disaster for the American and the Finn that will have a lot to recover after this disastrous first result, non-result in this case. So it opens the door and opens the gap as well for Ariel Elkin, who climbed to third place, the young Israeli. He still has 8/10 of a second, 1.2 seconds of a gap, as you can see from Nicolas Tsolov. The two drivers on your screen, Rafael Camara and Nicolas Tsolov. This is the end of lap number 4. Tsolov waiting for the right time, of course. There's no rush. Yes, just 2 meters. He's just 2 meters behind Rafael Camara. There's no rush to get into action way too soon into that race, because Camara actually could give the overtaking back. 12 laps to go through to the OK class. As you can see on the right side of the picture, Ariel Elkin is in third place, still 1 second behind for the young Israeli. We have in fourth place Norton Andriansen, Martinus Stenzorn in fifth place. What a race from Andriansen, who climbed 8 positions within the top 4. Alfio Spina is 6th, with a good recovery effort as well from the KART Republic driver. Emily Covisto is 7. We have Jessica Rasquedo in 8, climbing through. And watch out for the move. Nicolas Tsolov is going around and taking the leadership back of this race. Tsolov is ahead of Rafael Camara. As I was saying, Tsolov, try not to attack me, because we might actually get a connection done with Ariel Elkin just behind if we're too slow by fighting each other. But at the moment, Tsolov is ahead, and Camara is going to have a mission on his hand, is to try to stay in his shadow as much as he can. Nicolas Pirtilati, mechanical problem, so he's going to have with the orange and black flag to be shown to Nicolas Pirtilati. That means that he's going to have to retire himself from the race. Pirtilati, who is 27 in this race at the moment. So quite unfortunate for Nicolas Pirtilati, the Finnish driver. In the meantime, Tsolov is extending his lead, 0.2 of a second now on Rafael Camara. Your two leaders, Ariel Elkin still down for a full second on Tsolov and Camara, 1.2 seconds. Then we have Norton Andriansen still in fourth. Martinus Stenzorn is fifth. Sixth place in the hands of Emily Covisto. Alfio Spina is 7. Carrasquedo, Dominguez, and Del Pino, who just went ahead. Rafael Mondonese for 10th place. Further back, Rintaro Sato, the son of Takuma Sato, of course, Sato-san, who might be listening if he's not with us on track. I haven't seen him yet this weekend, or maybe he will be with us the next, but at least I'm sure if he's available, he's listening and watching the performance of his son in 12th place at the moment. Not really the race at the start of the weekend that Rintaro Sato had certainly planned, as he was fourth on the grid, third on the grid, and now dropping all the way back to 11 and trying to make up for the ground that he lost in the opening stages of this race. Nico Kuman from Forza Racing is the fastest in 1:03. On your picture is still the battle raging. This is Ariel Elkin and Norton Andriansen really on a charge. This is a hammer time already for Norton Andriansen, who completely missed his qualifying session, and he goes through for the move on Ariel Elkin into the hairpin number 11. This is done and dusted, and another move, the ninth driver that he's been overtaking since the start of this race, Norton Andriansen, now sits in third place. Ariel Elkin is going to have to fight back on this one and protect himself from Martinus Stenzorn with the Leclerc lock on his chassis. But Norton Andriansen, the world racing driver, on the charge, is sitting in third place with a much better pace by the look of it than Ariel Elkin at the moment. 7 laps in, lap number 8. We're getting your checkered flag slowly but firmly. And the gap between Solov and Camara has just extended for a tiny bit, 0.3 of a second. Then we have those two drivers in the same picture. Andreasen, Ariel Elkin, Stenson in 5th place. Then in the rest of the classification, as Nico Thumann is setting another fastest lap, Nico Thumann, who is currently in 18th place. Nico Thumann, who was one of the revelations of the previous round of Champions of the Future in Zuera back in the summer, as he was the leader actually at the end of the qualifying heats. This time around, the fastest on track, but not really the race that he had foreseen in his head. 18, 3 places down. Now the battle is raging, still observing each other, Rafael Camara and Nicolas Solov. Can Rafael Camara actually try to decrease the gap? This is lap number 8. He doesn't have much time remaining with the purple colors of his sponsor on his chassis, Rafael Camara. Of course, like many of his fellow countrymen, Rafael Camara had expected certainly the end of the season to travel the Atlantic Ocean to the Brazil, but other decisions led to us being in Campillos this weekend, but certainly is not lacking any ambition and any will to do well to conclude his season on a high. The European Championship, just to mention it, didn't go his way, Rafael Camara, but this time around he has still a good shot at winning Champions of the Future. Last year in this very competition he was third at the end behind Nikita Berlin and Joe Turney, so there's one place to go looking for Rafael Camara. Now is the pressure on Ariel Elkin, and Martin Stenson is getting ahead of the Israeli driver. It just happened on the downside of the track, the last 2 sectors, and Martin Stenson is getting ahead of Elkin for 4th place. Now this is lap number 10, as the checkered flag is about to be waved very, very soon, and Nicolas Solov, Rafael Camara split by 0.5 of a second at the moment. Camara not quite able to keep up with the pace, as Nicolas Solov just set the fastest lap in 1:01. This is 2/10 faster than Rafael Camara at the moment, as the Brazilian seems to be quite happy with the 2nd place. Still, he cannot reach quite enough the leader to make a difference. But right now, Ariel Elkin might still have a chance to get ahead and fight back against Martin Stenson. Let's see what's going to happen further back as well. We have Emile Covisto and Alfio Spina split by 0.5 of a second. Then Carrasquedo, Dominguez, Bruno Del Pino, Erin Tarusato still climbing through the ranks and really clinching through the door of the top 10. On your screen is Martin Stenson with a very nice pinky kind of helmet on his head with the Leclerc by Lennox Racing colors. Lap number 11, penultimate lap for all the drivers. On your screen is 2:17 of Norton Adriansen. He's trying as much as he can. Norton Adriansen will still have 1.3 seconds of a gap to Rafael Camara into turn number 5. You cannot see it actually, or maybe on this angle, but this is a never-ending climb to the summit of this circuit, which has been built on the side of a hill here in beautiful Andalusia. The 260 of energy is coming back to the pits, I'm afraid, as you don't see that on your screen. Just happened on the corner of my eye. Jokubus Bagnanavicius, unfortunately, is coming back to the pits, and this will be retirement for the energy driver. Now we're about to enter the last lap of this race, the first of the hockey class this weekend, as Nicolas Solov is pulling away literally on Rafael Camara. 0.7 of a second on this young man. Andreasen 2 seconds behind. Final lap for the standard bearer of the DPK Racing team. You just heard him in the interview. Very focused, very determined on the task at hand, of course, for Nicolas Solov, who was the fastest in qualifying. And he knows, of course, that even though he's Bulgarian... Oh, and this will be retirement, I'm afraid, for the 273. This is Pedro Hilbrand. Oh, quite a shame for Pedro Hilbrand, the Spaniard, competing on home soil. And this is retirement with a mechanical problem on his BRLR chassis, aligned by Lennox Racing, and is out of his kart, Pedro Hilbrand. So again, trouble for one of the potential contenders, one of the big names in this class, after what happened to Igor Guchuku and Tuka Taponen earlier in this race. This is only the beginning of the weekend, and already some surprises coming your way into the senior category. He was on pole position yesterday, is taking his first win of the weekend. Nicolas Solov win for the DPK Racing team in front of Rafael Camara. Norton Adriansen made the job with 9 places climbed up to third in front of Martino Stenzon. Emily Covisto. Alfio Spina is sixth. JC Carrasquedo actually made his effort as well and overtook 11 drivers up to 7. 8th place for Ariel Elkin. Ariel Elkin had a bit of a trouble, actually. We didn't see that on screen, but he lost a couple of positions down to 8. I don't know if it was the result of a mistake or an incident or a bit of a wheel banging with another driver. We'll try to clear that up. But as a result, Ariel Elkin is 8th as he was fighting for a potential top 5. Ivan Dominguez is 9 in front of Bruno Del Pino, and Rintaro Sato just outside the top 10. In the rest of the classification, we have Oscar Pedersen, Luigi Coluccio for 13, Joel Bergström. This is already certainly the reward for the best recovery so far. 20 positions gained by Joel Bergström, the 3-2-3. Incredible recovery from the Swedish driver. Joel Bergström was starting from the back end of the grid, the row number 17, and he just managed to dive through the field and really get position after position. 20 places gained up to 14. Nico Kiman is 15 in front of Rafael de Monese, Erolin Nurendini, Alexander Kubenko 18 in front of Arthur Ronjo, Marc Kastelic, classification appearing A against B. Then we have 21st Sandro Olzem, Nathan Schaap is 22 from Gustav Winiewski, Kuba Rajic, we have Albani Vivas Alvarez, Arthur Chabar, Jaime Sanz-Torrijos, Flavio Oliveri, and Valle Luque. 29 drivers at the flag, and already a couple of retirements. On your picture is Pedro Hilbrand, unfortunately, who was the last to retire, as well as Bagdanavicius, Pirtilati, Taponen, and Ugo Chuku going together, and GC Lacey retiring at the beginning of this race. So this is first victory after pole position for Nikola Tsolov. A clean sweep so far for the young Bulgarian driver. Let's see if he can keep it up for the rest of the weekend as Pedro Hilbrand is pushing his car back to the Parc Fermé.